Good morning, everyone. This is Georgette. I work for the law office of Vincent Davis, and this is our show today. Miss G freestyling flight CPS, and again, my co-host today is Monica. Monica, go ahead and introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Monica. I live in Arizona and I've known Georgette for over a year now. And we both have a passion for what's right,
Mhm.
getting kids as much as possible out of the foster care system and back with their families.
Amen to that. That's right. So, Monica, I know that you and I talked, and you said that you've done a lot of research last week, and we talked about it. So, which topic are we going to open up today to share with our people here?
I just came across an alarming, something very alarming. I don't know if anybody out there knows how many foster care children are in the system in Los Angeles County alone. They're saying it's over 20,000.
In LA County, in just LA County alone?
Just LA County.
Wow.
I find that staggering. That is staggering. In Arizona, we have around 14 to 15,000. And that's, I guess they're saying, according to DHS, Arizona's own report, that is up 33% within the last 4 years. In 2019, 100 of these children died of maltreatment, abuse, or neglect. And yeah, that's horrific.
So what about this? Do you remember when you and I were talking and you mentioned the act? Remember the act? The Bill Clinton? Yeah.
Yeah, that is the
Because I was talking to Vincent about this for a while, and he's like, "No, no, no." I said, "Yeah, the act is what started all this. Started all the funding, all of that, immunity, everything. Because CPS was never like that before when I was, a young child, or you."
it's called the ASPA, and it's the Adoption and Safe Families Act. It was introduced by President Bill Clinton, I believe it's 1997, and I think it was enacted February 1st, 1999. And so it's it was meant as a good thing to try to fast track children, but to get them out of foster care faster into adoption.
Mm-hmm.
But what it's created is a mess. It had good intentions to start with. We're trying to prevent children from remaining in foster care for years, try to prevent cases from being heard by different judges, numerous judges over a period of time. So each child would have one judge and they would settle that case. That has not happened. I know people that have had 3, 4, 5 judges on their case, and I think you know someone too that has experienced that, gone through many, many judges.
This what really gets me about this, and I think I spoke to you about it. It's all about money. It's funding, the money. They have people do classes, and that's what really gets me. Parents. I have a couple of parents that I speak with daily, and I really got to know them, like you, Monica. And they said to me, Georgette, we lost our jobs because they were done with their classes, right? Their boss accommodated them, right? Then they came back and said, oh no, we need you to do 6 more months of classes, right? And then now they give them the hopes of getting their kids back, reunified with their kids. But then again, they lost their job and their kids because they can't keep up with the classes. And you know what's sad? That the social workers, to me, they're the ones who judge, and take the children.
Jury, executioner.
Yeah, they're the executioners. Yeah, they're really using us. They're like assassinating parents. In other words,
And these cases, years. They're in the system for years.
yes.
Sometimes, unless you have a lawyer that.
And the court pretenders. I mean, they make me sick to just. They make me so sick. I lose words. I don't even know how to process this. They're supposed to be helping the people, right? Their excuses is we have a lot of caseloads, right? But the reason they have a lot of caseloads is because, and they're actually happy with the caseloads. They're not really complaining because they get paid, right?
Yeah.
If children are not removed, how are they going to get paid? If the children are not removed, how is the social worker are going to get paid and do her nails and hair and makeup and go to concerts and do all these beautiful things, right? That they do. I've seen a social worker the other day, okay, just the other day, walking down. I was at Shell, right? And I keep coming across them, maybe because I talk about them so much that it's like, you know how it is when you buy a car and then all of a sudden you see your car everywhere, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's driving your model. Now that I talk about them so much, I tend to see them places. So I was at Shell, and that was, I think, that Saturday you texted me.
Yes.
And I was at Shell putting gas, and I was with my best friend at the time. And then my best friend has an 8-year-old, right? And then we were walking, and then I said, "Hold your child." I said, I was laughing with her, kidding with her. I said, "You don't want a social worker to say you were holding her hand." You know what I mean? And then she started laughing. So next to us, there was a lady walking to the cashier, and she said, "Well, that's weird because I'm a social worker." I looked at her. I said to her, "I said, get behind me, Satan. I don't want to see you." I literally told her that. You know what I mean? Because it's so sad that we come across them, and they're everywhere. And then she said, you were right telling your friend that to hold her daughter's hand because I was noticing that too." I looked at her. I said, "I was just kidding with my friend." I said, "But you have no business getting into you have no business getting into our business." And I told her, stay away. Like, I literally put my hand up and I said, "Stay away." Yeah, yeah, I did. And I walked away. So she was watching us walking away. And then she looked at my car and I said, "Okay, so what is she going to do now?" Just like, what is she going to do at this moment? You know what I mean? It just makes me kind of curious. Huh?
She's spotting for another victim. Her next prey.
That's what I really see. And she looked so terrible. She looked like she was high on meth. That's what she looked like. And sometimes I wonder if really they do drugs. I really do sometimes. I wonder. Because this is sad. All the kids are dying. Did you hear? We were talking about foster kids. Remember, you and I?
Yes.
And there was an article about, what's her name? The grandmother. She was fighting for her grandchild. And her grandchild was murdered. Remember? What was her name? Maria. Was it Maria?
I can't remember the grandmother's name, but I believe the boy's name was Isaiah Boone. Are you talking about that case? There's so many. There's
a girl, daughter, somebody's daughter. Isaiah Boone was 5, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And he was what? He was murdered?
Yes. I don't know if it was his father or his stepfather had murdered his mother. And so there was a referral made to social services after that happened, obviously. So the father or the stepfather is currently in jail awaiting trial. But the grandmother tried to intervene on behalf of her grandson and get him into kinship care.
Right.
But they weren't having any of it. They wouldn't respond to her, nothing. And so he was sent to foster care and he was murdered.
By the foster parent.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the foster parent also knew the social worker, by the way.
Oh, yes, I
Yeah,
heard about that.
yeah, she knew the social worker. And there was another case. There was another case that I actually am dealing with right now. I was assigned to that case, and I was talking to her yesterday. She said that she wants the child to be placed with her aunt, right? The lady didn't do anything. She had the mother didn't do anything. She's so innocent to the point of, like, she's so innocent, right? It's like she's an angel, literally, right? All she did was take her child to work. Okay. And her boss at work, I can't mention where she works, but her boss at work have this once a month bring your child to work day.
Okay.
So she took her children. She has a 3-year old and she has a 4-year old. I mean, a 5-year old. So she took her kids. She said, we do this every month, everything, right? Her child fell. Her 3-year old fell, injured his knee. Not like bad. He didn't break his knee. He just injured his knee. So one of the workers' sister is a social worker. Her sister is a social worker. This is in
Yeah.
Santa Monica, in Santa Monica, okay, California. So she called her sister, right? And she told her sister about the injury, and she told her sister that his mother wasn't watching him.
Oh
Now,
my.
all this is true story. She's telling me the whole thing, and she heard her talk to her sister, but she didn't know her sister is a social worker. In fact, she doesn't even know what social workers are. That's how naive she is, right?
Right.
So she said, all of a sudden, she comes to the workplace, her sister, and she said, we received a report that you neglected your children. To the workplace. I haven't talked to Davis about this yet. That just happened yesterday, and I know he was busy yesterday. But she went to the workplace and she said she received a report. That report came from her sister. I mean,
Wow.
her sister is the one that reported. Her sister is the one that works with her in her office. So how did she think about it? Okay, that's not a hotline report, right? This is her sister who called her other sister, who's a social worker, to tell her about the incident when all the kids are in the same room.
It's like gossip.
It's like gossip. There you go. But then her sister came to the job. I've never heard that before.
No,
That
I
one's
haven't
new to me.
either.
Yeah, that one is new to me. That's why I told her, I said, I'm going to talk to Mr. Davis about this because this is unusual. Well, it's not unusual what they do, but this is something unusual. Does that make sense? Like, this is new
Yeah.
to me. And the sister is a supervisor for the Department of Child Services.
So she
That's why
completely
I called you. That's
circumvented.
why I called you last night. That's why I called you late last night to
Wow.
tell you. Because me and her were talking um, after, I work after hours sometimes. So me and her were talking about 8:30 at night. We were talking about this, me and the client. And when she mentioned this to me, I called you instantly to share this with you. And I'm like, oh my God, I have to tell Monica this. I have to tell Monica this. Because it blew my mind that she actually went to the job.
She completely circumvented
Yeah.
the routine system that you're supposed to use. Yeah, we've experienced some of that too,
Yeah.
actually.
It's very sad. And then her boss, he said her boss told her, I have camera footage, right? He's gonna see if the camera footage is gonna bring the audio of the conversation between her and her sister. Because she reported to her sister, so the lady, the mother, works with her. So they have cameras at work, obviously. So her boss told her he wants to see if he can hear an audio of the conversation because she is at the job and she is the one reporting to her sister, who she knows she's a supervisor, and not just any supervisor, she's a supervisor for DCFS.
That's corrupt.
That is
And
so corrupt.
for you.
Then she comes to the office, right? To the office immediately and requested to speak with her. And when she was telling me the story, I actually thought it was a setup, like for me. I thought it was a setup in my head. Like she was on this lady to begin with, because all the other mothers had kids falling, right?
Of course.
Why only her? Why
Exactly. What did she have against this
why
mother?
this one particular mother? Let
See,
me
they
tell you
shouldn't.
what, but let me tell you what she has against her. That was came in my mind. So she said, Georgette, the only thing she can think of, right, is
Yeah.
that she wants to take her job title.
So she's using this.
Right. She wants to get her job title because she's trying to move up in the company. So what she's doing is she's trying to get her job title.
What kind
I
of work
said,
did she do?
I can't say. I can't. It's confidential, that part. But it's good. She has a good job, a very good job. Okay. But she wanted to take her title. And that's the only thing she wanted to do, because she asked her boss to be transferred. That's what her boss told her. She asked her boss to be transferred into a different location so she can get promoted faster. So she figured that this is a way to get promoted, is to remove um, her from, you know, from the office. Yeah.
That is so
So
vindictive.
very
So
vindictive and
vindictive.
maliciously thought of, right? She's malice. So I told her, I said, baby girl, I said to her, I said, leave her to God, leave that part to God. You know, to me, I really am big believer. All right. That's just my faith. I believe in God. So God will handle that part, because what she's doing is she's hindering you, your position and your motherlyhood, because of her own selfish reasons, right? The other ones that had their kids at the office were not, they were just regular employees.
Right.
They didn't have a title, kind of like, sales assistant, or, whatever. So she didn't focus on those. She put her focus on another mother that did not deserve was coming to her.
She was just waiting to find something
Sad.
against the lady,
Yeah.
it sounds like.
Yeah.
And then when the child fell at the workplace, like all the other kids did, she used it against her. Ooh, she's going to have some bad karma. She's brought
Yes.
some bad karma.
She is, yes, and I really believe in that. I
She is.
really do, yeah. Because at the end of the day, and I see that a lot. I see women reporting women to CPS. I see um, the other day also I got a grandmother reporting her daughter, and I told her, I said, why did you report your daughter? I love grandmothers, but not everybody is the same. You know,
Exactly.
like you have good and bad in everybody. And I told her, I said, why are you reporting your daughter, your own flesh and blood? She said, because I want my grandson to stay with me. She doesn't let me see him enough.
Oh my God.
So she reported her daughter, because she's punishing her, because she wants to have her grandson stay with her. Her daughter doesn't want her son to stay with her overnight, because she's 85 and she has complications. And she said, that's what her daughter keeps telling her. But she reported her daughter thinking, right, that she's going to have more time with her grandson. But in reality, they took the child from her and her daughter.
Yeah, now nobody will see him.
Yeah. Now she can't see her grandson ever right now. And her husband, which is the grandfather, blames her, right? Because she's the one who created the chaos. And now her daughter is suffering. All because her daughter didn't want her son to spend the weekend with her mom.
Sounds like the child's gonna suffer too.
Yeah,
I
the
mean,
child is the one suffering. Yeah,
being put into a strange environment.
yeah,
That's so traumatic for children. So traumatic.
it is. And the child is only 18 months.
Oh my God.
18 months. So to me, and then the social workers take the kid. It's so easy, Monica. It is so easy for the children to be removed from the home. I have never in my life thought that the kids will be the number one target in America for money. This is $1 billion entity a year.
It is. They
Okay.
have to keep doing it in order to perpetuate the next year's funding. So
Exactly.
they have to keep taking children. Say if you get $100 this year, you've taken, say, 2 children, you have to do the same next year or you won't get the same pile of money.
Right. And did you know when I was doing my research and I discovered that Bill Clinton had a role in all this, and then when Hillary Clinton took office in when she took office with Obama, and then in 2013, she actually gave them more immunity and more funding.
Wow. Isn't she the one that said it takes a village?
Yeah. To raise children. Yeah. So she had a big role to play in it. Okay. It's kind of like continuing what her husband left behind.
Legacy, yes.
His legacy. And to me, yeah, it's very sad. It's very, very sad. Okay. I didn't vote for her anyways, but it's very sad that you find out that people, right? The same people that say they want to protect the citizens of the United States of America are the same people who are actually stealing our children, who's allowing it to happen. They're allowing it to happen.
I think at some point we're going to get tired of it. I know I'm tired of it. The social worker on our case actually contacted our grandson's great-grandmother and told her, he's in danger, call the hotline. But she was a mandated reporter. She didn't need her to call a hotline. If she thought something was wrong, why not just call us or come and look yourself, or send someone to look themselves? But no, they got her to call the hotline and say they were worried about the baby. And so as soon as that happened, there's no investigation of any kind. 3 sheriffs rolled up in front of our nice cul-de-sac home, and with a social worker who's not a social worker. She doesn't know a thing about children. She doesn't know. She's just a predator is what she is, a predator.
How old was she? Like 22, 23? I laugh at them. I'm like, seriously, you just came out of diapers. Literally just came out of diapers. And you're going to judge somebody, a woman, half your age? I mean, twice your age. Like, I'm not kidding you. I see it a lot. Social workers are young, naive, and stupid, right? They actually love the fact that they see a mother cry. They have no compassion. They don't. No, zero compassion. No. Zero compassion. Zero compassion. Zero. And they look at moms like they're pieces of crap. They actually look at moms like they're pieces of crap. And, and if most of them, right, they don't like their mom. So what they do, they think all moms are scumbags. I'm not kidding you. They think all moms are scumbags.
Wow.
Yeah. And then, it's very sad. But then if you have a good childhood, right, they come after you. They're either jealous because you had a better childhood than them, and they come after your kids when you explain to them your upbringing. And then they come attack you and threaten you when they say to you, oh, you better talk to us or we're going to take your children from you. You better sign this or we're going to take your kids from you.
It doesn't matter because you know what?
They stand by law.
They lie in the report. For example, when she came, I found this out. When she came, she said we wouldn't allow her to see the grandbaby. We certainly did. She saw him for 15 or 20 minutes, maybe longer. And we talked to her. We weren't overly friendly, but we answered all her questions. And that night, in the middle of the night, she came and she stole him. That time she was with 2 sheriffs and drove him 3 hours away in the middle of the night with him crying for me. And I'm not going to have it. We're doing everything that we can do, and we're just not going to sit back and do nothing. They created a warrior now. So I want to help anybody and everybody that's gone through the same thing that we've gone through, Georgette, and do all that we can. But legislation needs to be changed. We need to get rid of this system, because anytime money's involved, it's going to breed corruption.
Honestly,
Cash.
that is very true. I have a good friend of mine. He's a law enforcement, right? And I spoke to him and I told him, me and him were talking about work, right? And I said to him, I said, I would rather live next door to the cartels than live next door to a social worker. And it took him a second to even process that. You know what I mean? And he said, Georgette, I know you don't like, drugs. And I'm like, I don't. I don't like drugs, but that has nothing to do with drugs. I'm telling you, I would rather live next door to the most extremist, right, than to live next door to a social worker, because of the scum crap that they do. They do so much damage.
They try to get away with it.
It leaves you so kind of like, it leaves you so wondering, like in your mind, like, how did this happen? How? And oftentimes they actually do call the hotline. 150%, they call the hotline after, for example, if the kids reunify with their parents, 6 months review has to be done, right? Then all of a sudden, 1 week before the 6 months is up, they receive a hotline call. They receive a hotline call, and then they go remove the kids again. Who made the hotline call? But they know that somebody has to make a hotline call, right? Somebody does it. They go take the kids and then put the kids back in foster home. And then the kids is like, and then the family, the parents are now in the same cycle again. It's kind of like recycling.
Wow.
Recycling. That's what it is. In order to keep getting the funding. You're a target to them. Once you're in the system, you're a target to them because they keep getting funding.
That's sick.
I have seen it happen. And then the parents are talking to me like, Georgette, all of a sudden they get an anonymous hotline call 1 week before they close the case.
Wow.
Yep. 1 week. And then they would tell me, everybody that I speak with, social worker comes out across to them as nice first. She wants to reunify us with the kids. The social workers are now taking this approach, by the way, guys. They say that we're not here to steal your children, right? Now they're doing this. We're not here to steal your children. We're here to,
help you,
right? Yes. And then the father was on the phone with me, and then he said, my wife doesn't believe that the social workers are scumbags. Don't trust them. Because his wife says, oh, no, she's nice. And his wife talks. And she keeps talking to the social worker like she's her friend. She's not your friend. They're not your friend. They're not your family. If you want to vent out to your best friend, vent out to your family, but do not vent out to a social worker. Because a social worker will take your information and twist it, okay? And now you're like, it's like a spider web. You're like literally stuck there until you die. That's how they operate. Do not give them ammunition,
Use everything that you say against you. They should read you Miranda rights. Everything that you can and say will be used against you, because it will.
Yeah, it is the nightmare that doesn't end. They really are the nightmare that doesn't end, because they're so corrupt and they actually enjoy it. And these judges, shame on you, believing a social worker's information against one parent. Judges, to me, are incredibly disturbing, because anything that a social worker says, the judges believe. But judge, what is your job? What is your job title? Why did you become a judge? That's what I want to ask all judges. I would love that. Why? What compelled you to be a judge, other than wearing a black robe? right? And having a high title. What compelled you? If you want to help the citizens, right? The people, the mothers, the parents, be a fair judge. Review the case. Look at evidence. Don't make a decision until you see solid, concrete evidence against a parent. Don't just assume that the social worker is saying the truth, because they
No,
don't.
because they're not.
They're not.
They sway everything towards
They're
their
not.
point of view, even their bosses. And it was funny because one of these gals that came to our house threw her own boss under the bus. She said, well, my supervisor wanted me to take him. She thought it was best. So she stood right there, gave her name and everything.
Yeah, look what Dorothy Cook said. She said, "You are speaking truth. One of the social workers told me nothing. I say to her, she told me nothing. I say to her, be used against me. Oh, she told her nothing she would say to her be used against her. So she lied. Absolutely, she lied, Dorothy. This is what they do. Oh, don't worry. Tell me your life. Tell me your life. You can trust me. That's like Satan going to your house, right? And says, hey, trust me. I am the way, right? To all your, all your glory. I'm the way, right? And you're like, okay, Satan, what do you want me to do? That's exactly how they are. Social workers are never to be trusted. Never.
You have a constitutional right not to speak with them. Actually, if they come to your house to get your children, I think Mr. Davis said this, that you have a right to speak with an attorney before you just hand over your kids. And they also have to have a warrant. They didn't do that in my case, and I wish I'd have known my rights. But because of that, now they're going to be in a big civil lawsuit with us, and they're going to regret it.
They do have to have a warrant. They cannot get a warrant to speak to you or your husband. They cannot get a court order to speak to you or your husband. You do know this, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So a lot of people, they say, oh, well, I have to talk to the social worker because she said, if I don't speak to her, they're going to remove my kids. Do you know how many calls a day I get that tell me the same exact thing? I have a lady that has a Ring camera in her home. The social worker told her, she sent me the audio, the video footage. The social worker told her in the kitchen, that if you don't speak to me, I will go to my supervisor, get a warrant to remove your child. I told her by law she cannot say that to you because that's what Mr. Davis always tells us. They can't force you to speak with them because once you open your mouth, right, they will take 3 words, turn it into 500 different sentences.
You're actually not supposed to even let them in your house. You don't even have to do that.
No, you don't.
I was out there arguing with all 3 sheriffs and the CPS worker who was hiding around the corner. Oh, you should have seen her. All of a sudden, she wasn't so. When she saw me, she sheepishly hid around the corner, as if I didn't know who she was.
Right.
Pathetic.
She said, Vanessa said, don't talk to any of them. Everything will be used against you like cops. They're worse than cops, baby. They're worse than
they get away with lying. What do they think they do?
At least police officers wear body cams, okay? Those scumbags called social workers, they don't wear body cams. You don't know what they're saying. You don't know what they're telling your kids. You don't know what your kids are telling them. There's so many cases that Mr. Davis's office works on where the kids tell, the kids say, we never said that. We never said that. But the social worker says the child said the mother beat him. The child said this and that. It's not true. They lie. They say the kids say one thing and the kids didn't even say anything, but yet they're saying, oh, okay, we're taking your child from you. Based on lies and fabrication they create. They create chaos, those
Yeah, they do.
They create chaos. Then, like I said in all my videos, all of them are narcissists. All of them. Because their behavior is narcissistic.
It is.
Their behavior is demonic, sociopathic. You know what I mean? Kind of like you judge a person by what they do, right?
Right.
Action speaks louder than words. So it's kind of like this. Whew. What they do is to create chaos. And from that chaos, right, your execution comes.
Family division. It creates a whole module of, brings a whole module of bad stuff with it. I mean, why? I would want a job like that. I wouldn't care how much they offered to pay me. I wouldn't do it.
Wait, let me answer that. The only ones that love authority, to have a job of authority, are narcissistic.
Narcissists, yeah.
Exactly. Because they have no remorse. They have no compassion. They love themselves. So what kind of job would a narcissist do? A job of authority and power. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Think about it. They want power.
They think that we're all weak and that we're going to lie down for them and not fight back.
Right. And then that's why it amazes me that judges actually, they believe the workers. It blows my mind. It blows my mind that judges believe social workers.
It's you're guilty until proven innocent instead of innocent until proven guilty.
Well,
It's like
you're guilty and not proven innocent. I changed it.
True.
Because that's what's happening. You're guilty and not proven innocent. I am 52 years old and I can't get in. I can't process. I can't process this is America. When I was growing up in America, I was proud to be an American, right? As a child. My mom used to put like, what do you call it? Flag pillows on 4th of July, on the sofa, and decorate the house, 4th of July holiday. And now, as I get older in life, my mom is with God now and my dad. But when I get older in life, I realize that there's so much corruption in America. But yet we we judge other countries. There's no freedom. There's no this. Freedom is here. The land of the free, the land of this, the land of that. Actually, it's not the land of the free. We have no freedom. We can't even speak our mind. We can't speak our mind. And if you plead the fifth, to a social worker, we're gonna take your children. Huh? If you tell a social worker, oh, I'm not gonna speak to you without an attorney present. Okay, then we're gonna take your kids. Where's your rights? As an American, where is your rights? That doesn't even happen in huh?
One followed me into the parking lot with me holding my hand up saying, I'm not going to talk to you.
Yeah.
And she brought it up in court even. Yeah, I thought that was my constitutional right.
But she didn't bring up in court that she followed you to the parking lot.
No, I did.
Exactly. That's what, like I said, she didn't bring up to the judge that she actually harassed you. When you tell somebody, I plead the fifth, you can't force them. You have to stop. You got to stop. That's it. You can't force them to speak.
They also use defamation against people. If they find out or think that you've passed gas on 15 years ago, they're going to bring that up in court. My God, I've never seen such. It's more like the National Enquirer. I'm not kidding you.
I know.
It's the National Enquirer on the stand. It's like, wow.
It blows my mind. I don't mean to laugh, but it's funny in a way, but it's funny, but not really funny at the same time, because I had a client who was telling me that the social worker told him that when he was 19 years old, the client is 48. When he was 19 when he was 19 years old, he was arrested for stealing um, something from the supermarket or the something. Like, I don't know what it was. Something very petty
Yeah.
theft, right?
Mhm.
So he was arrested for that one day, right? And then he was let go. And then, the judge at the time, he said the judge ruled, like, just let him go. He's a kid. Don't do it again. Kind of,
Yeah.
don't do it again. Slap on the hand type of thing, right?
Yeah.
So the charges were dropped, right? So
Oh.
all of a sudden, the social worker tells him, "Oh, from 19 whatever, okay, that was a gazillion years ago.
Oh my
We
God.
found out that you went to jail when you were 19 years old." He's like, "What? I forgot all about that." He didn't remember. That man is successful. He has a great job, right? He owns his own business. His wife is a stay-at-home mom. You know, he didn't understand, but the reason they attacked him and his wife to begin with, right? Because one of the family members made a hotline call.
And here comes CPS.
Yeah. So that family member, that's why it blows my mind. And how, I have a show called Relatives Fight CPS. Okay. And I love it. I do it
Show.
with Mr.
Show.
David. Thank you. However, when I see relatives actually throw their own flesh and blood under the bus, it blows my mind at the same time.
It does me too, because
Because of conflict. Most of the cases is because of conflict. They had a fight on Thanksgiving, for example, right? Um, he doesn't like his wife. His wife doesn't like his wife. The grandmother doesn't like her son's wife, so she has to report to CPS. All this stuff is, to me, that's what brings the devil to your home to begin with.
it is.
Because they come knocking on your door, and then once you open, it's like you're opening Pandora's box, and you're saying, you're telling the devil, come in.
Can't put that genie back in the bottle.
No, you can't. Once the genie is out, you can't put it back in the bottle. And that's why I tell everybody, they call us after the fact, they speak to social workers. Do not speak to social workers.
Not without your lawyer.
Whether you cooperate or not, whether you sign the safety plan is nothing but BS. Okay, I call it the BS plan. They tell you after a week or a month, yeah, it is. After a week or a month or this and that, you're going to get your kids back. Do what we tell you, you're going to get your kids back. Not one of them ever get their children back. You sign the safety plan, right? You do all the classes. You do this, you do this. Then they say 3 months. Then they say 6 months. Then they say this. Then the court is postponed. The court, the hearing is another 6 months. And then it goes on and on and on. Then when the parents go to court, finally, right, 12 months later, the judge says it's going to traumatize the children to be removed from the foster parent. But you,
Wow.
piece of crap, judge, didn't it traumatize the children being removed from their parents? But you remove the children from their parents when the children cry out, "Mommy, don't leave me," right? That's traumatizing the children right there.
That's
no,
really traumatizing to children.
You see it fit not to get the children from the foster parent back to their parents because you don't want to traumatize the children. Just tell me, how is that even logical? Just tell me, how is that even logic? They set rules. They set rules to protect themselves. They set rules in place, judges, right? Because they have these rules, right, to fit their agenda.
Qualified immunity. Does every state have qualified immunity? I don't understand that. I'm gonna have to research that.
Yeah, I am pretty sure they do. Because really, honestly, I have never, like I'm going to repeat myself over and over again. I have never thought America was like this.
I
I
was
never
with
thought
that.
America was like this. You know, there's a lot of people who fight for our country. A lot of good men. A lot of good men fighting for
And
our country.
women.
Men
And
and women.
women.
Yeah, exactly. I forgot you were one of them. So, right? You fought for our country. Yeah. So,
Absolutely. I'm
yeah.
proud to do so. Happy to
Yeah,
do so.
exactly. So to me, it's like they take kids from veterans, right? They take kids from veterans now. Like a lot. A lot of veteran people call me. And I'm like, it blows my mind. They don't do drugs, right? The only thing he takes is uh prescribed medication to help him go to sleep. Because from the war, you know, he has
PTSD,
yeah,
yeah.
PTSD and he can't sleep. And he says, because I was talking to a veteran, and he said, because he saw his best friend get blown up. So he said, ever since he saw his best friend get blown up, he's been, every time he goes to sleep, the image comes in his head, which is normal. You're human, you know,
Absolutely.
you're human. So, because he takes medication, and oh, by the way, his mother-in-law is the one that reported him and her daughter because she didn't like him for her daughter. Okay, that's another story. But anyways, when the social worker came to his house, she noticed that he's injured. He's missing a part of his body, okay, because of the war. He said to me, he said, Georgette, she asked me if I can function. How dare you ask a veteran if he can function when he's standing in front of you, you depleted piece of crap. He's standing in front of you, functioning. How could you ask him that? But she did it in a way where she actually put him down, right?
Wow.
It shouldn't surprise me, but yet it still kind of somehow surprises me. But it shouldn't. I shouldn't be surprised, right? I shouldn't.
Either, but I still am. They never cease to surprise me.
Yeah,
I
and
think
he
she
told
would
her
respect for a veteran.
exactly. But all people, not just veterans, all people, all parents. However, he told her. He said, "Yes, I can function." He said, "If I can't function, I wouldn't be standing here talking to you." That's what he told her. And she said, just because you fought for our country, and he, doesn't mean we're going to give you the pass. The pass.
Wow.
Said, what do you mean? She said, the pass. He said, the pass isn't like, kind of like, we're going to pass on you because you're a veteran. And he said, I didn't expect that. However, you're in my home, right? You're literally talking down to me. And she said, just because you fought for our country doesn't mean anything. Yeah.
Wow. That's horrible.
Yeah. And the report came from the mother-in-law that doesn't like him to begin with. In fact, he showed her a text message, which he already told the social worker too much to begin with. He showed her a text message from his mother-in-law telling him she's going to make sure that she takes the kids from them.
Well, she's taking them from herself too, because she probably won't see them either.
No, not true. This time, this grandmother got the kids placed with her. This particular grandmother had the kids placed with her because her best friend's daughter works for the Department of Child Services.
Oh, wow.
And the grandmother became a certified, what do you call it?
Foster mom?
Parent. Foster parent. Yeah. Her best friend's daughter told her to be a foster parent as soon as possible so they can place the kids with her. So that grandmother got her grandkids while her daughter and her husband, her daughter's husband, are suffering. The same man that fought for you, Grandma, is the same man that's fighting for his kids.
I sure hope he gets them back.
It's been, according to when I heard the story from him, that was on last Thursday, he said to me that they've been in and out of courts for 18 months. And in fact, he called us when it was late, around going towards the end of his case. Now she's adopting the grandkids.
Wow.
Yep. Not getting legal guardianship. She didn't want legal guardianship. She wanted to adopt her grandkids to get at her daughter and her husband for her daughter disobeying her and being married to this man.
It's the division. They use it as an excuse. They try to pit one family member against the other. I actually watched one of Mr. Davis's shows the other day, and I think it was about a year old. He said more and more people are starting to sue the social workers. That's my plan.
More and more people should sue the social workers.
Yes.
They should. I recommend that 100%, because a lot of people always say, let's defund the police department, right? I always say this. We need cops. We really do.
Yeah, we do.
We don't need social workers. We don't. We don't need them to have this much power. They have more power than a police officer.
The officers that came out to our house, we live in a small town. I see them all the time, actually. And one of them had tears in his eyes as he took our grandson away. He actually had tears in his eyes. And the other one said, well, this is a pretty house. He's like, he said, all I see is a lot of toys everywhere, because he's our grandson. So of course we spoil him. Why wouldn't we?
Exactly. But see what I mean? There you go, right there. Police officers actually, just because you found one or two or three, right? But there's millions of them who are good people. Millions of them actually have compassion. Okay? Social workers, not one. Give me one. One that has compassion. Just one. I want to see her. One.
I'd like to see somebody speak up against somebody that works with them, speak up against them.
I have no respect for social workers. I will never respect or trust social workers, judges, and court pretenders. Ever. Ever. Not one judge, maybe back in the day, as when you and I were younger, right? There was probably good judges. One judge in particular, I remember him. He was handling one of my friend's divorce case. His name was Judge Silverman. God bless this man. He was such a good, I love that man. He was fair, respectful. He actually reviewed files. He actually disclosed what was in each file. And that blew my mind. But he's retired. I pray he's still alive. I'm not sure. That was back in 2008, but he was a good man. But after like I said, as I grew older, I started seeing other judges who are not fair, they don't use logic, right? They don't review files. To me,
just automatically side with CPS.
The social workers, no, and even in family court, divorce and custody, they usually side with the parent that makes more money.
There's a lot of corruption.
They side with the parent that makes more money. They do. And it's all about power. If that parent's wife is a judge, right?
Yeah.
Then guess what? Mom can forget mom. We're going to give the kids to the dad because his wife is a judge. Or we're going to give, the kids to the dad because his wife is a social worker. Or we're going to give the kids to the dad because his wife is a police officer or a firefighter. Whatever. But what they do is that they make decisions based on your appearance and your title. Right? Your appearance and your title. So a narcissist thrives and lives on that because narcissists know how to appear. They have a mask, right? That mask,
Yes.
that they use is the charm,
It's
which is
all about appearances.
it's
It's
the
all
fake.
about appearances.
It's all about appearances and title. That's it. That's it. I honestly do not have respect for anyone in the social worker field or judges or court appointed attorneys, which I call them court pretenders. I have no respect for them. But I do, however, have a lot of respect for police officers. So if anybody tells me, oh, defund the police, I look at them and I'm like, get the hell away from my face. Because you don't know what you're talking about, right? You guys, people are not realizing that we shouldn't just go protest for Britney Spears, Britney Spears. I have nothing against the girl, okay? However, you guys are missing the point here. There's kids being kidnapped. There's kids being kidnapped
Every day,
thousands,
thousands.
thousands of children. So instead of you protesting for a celebrity, right? Why don't you protest? Why don't you get the passion into stopping CPS? Get the word out there. Get the word out. I'm not saying that's going to be, at least that's the first step, right?
We need to talk about it as a nation.
Talk about it. Expose them, because this is sad. Not everybody have the money that Britney Spears have to get a good attorney, right? Not everybody have money to bring up an attorney outside of CPS, because the court pretenders, they actually pretend to be your attorney. They pretend, but they're not actually your attorney. Why? Because they tell you things, it doesn't make sense. They don't return your calls. They're not on your side. They don't want to submit evidence. They give you excuses. It's ridiculous.
I've heard that there's a certain amount of collusion.
Hold on. Jackie Perkins said, I have respect for social workers that realize the system is corrupt and they leave. And when they leave, they help families like us that want our kids back and out of the system. Jackie, I have no problem with what you're saying, but that's just my opinion. I don't trust social workers, because when they leave the system, now they're speaking out. But what about when they were in the system to begin with? What about when they worked for 20 years? What did they do? What about when they worked for 15 years?
Or they know they'll get fired if they don't go along with the game, because
they wouldn't be there.
Social workers from Nashville, I think.
Right. So all of a sudden they left CPS and all of a sudden they have compassion. Again, this show is, I speak my mind, and I have so much respect for your opinion, Jackie, but I actually don't trust social workers. And I'm sticking with that. And it's for a reason. So all of a sudden they leave and now they want to be famous and they want to protect other families. Interesting. Again, where were they when they were stealing families to begin with? So anyways, a lot of social workers also, when they retire, all of a sudden they have compassion now to help other people. But that's not true. Their compassion is fake and a facade. Because when they were in the system, they stole kids. When they were in the system, they made up reports. When they were in the system, they lied against parents. So all of a sudden they have a revelation. All of a sudden they have, where's all the kids that were adopted when they were in the system as social workers? And they want to be famous. They want to have a show. They want to, they want to make themselves known.
It's too late to speak up then.
It's too late. You know why? Hey, I'm not, nothing against them. That's my opinion. I do not respect social workers, and I will never want to have communication with a social worker. I really don't.
Just record everything.
I really don't. Yeah. So we came to an end, everybody. Thank you so much, you guys, for joining us, me and Monica, today. Monica, thank you so much again. I love you so much. And I love each and every one of you guys dealing with CPS and dealing with the corruption out there. And please, if you need anything, let me know. You can contact the office. I also have a direct number. If you call the office, they'll give you my direct number as well. And again, thank you so much. And please don't forget to watch me at the 1 o'clock show on Fight CPS with Miss G. I know, Monica, you'll be watching.
I never miss your show. I never miss your
Right,
show.
right. And the 7 p.m. show with me and Mr. Davis on Relatives Fight CPS. Be safe. God bless you guys. And I'll talk to you guys soon. Bye, Monica.
Bye. Love you.
Love you too. Bye.